porch. Renaissance Room. With a new Renaissance Room from WindowWorks of Chattanooga, you'll love seeing the scenic city through your outdoor view. Take advantage of our limited time offer with special financing direct to you. Visit windowworksofchattanooga.com.
More breaking news, more local stories, and the area's most accurate local forecast. Take a fresh look at local3news.com.
So I'll be watching. We hope you will too.
It's always fun for us when Jason Carr pays us a visit. He, of course, is with Onward Chattanooga here in town. Good to see you.
You as well, thank you.
I guess the housing market is almost like the weather. It's always changing,
Always
right?
changing. That's
you wake
correct.
up one day and it looks different than it did the day before.
That's right.
But in your industry, like in any other, somebody out there is taking a look at the numbers and kind of seeing where trends are. So we're hearing that it's a buyer's market. Would you agree?
It's getting into that, yes.
Okay.
We're very close.
So is that kind of the old adage of supply and demand?
It is. It
Okay.
is.
So today you're a numbers guy, not just
I'm
a
gonna try
real
to be.
estate guy. I'm going to be a numbers cheater because
Yeah.
you've given me a cheat sheet. But to the point of the supply and demand, new listings year to date are
We
up.
have went up. Yes, we got more homes on the market than we've seen in a while. So, we're right at,
Almost 6,800.
yes.
And
Well,
is that right?
that's for the whole, from the
For the
whole
whole
year.
year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that is still up year to date.
Date.
This time over last year, it's 450 or something more
More.
homes. That's a significant
Than we had on the market this time last year, yes.
number. Okay,
Yeah.
so anybody who's ever bought and sold a house knows that to see the listing is one thing, to then get the offer accepted and begin the process is a whole nother. But those pending sales have actually come down a little.
Came down a little bit. They have.
Any idea why?
I think a lot of people got nervous
Mm-hmm.
at first of the year, and it's becoming to pick up a little bit more now.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it has to do with kids being out of school, people's on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So we're starting to see more buyers come out ready to buy, and more sellers ready to list right now.
Okay, so again, back to the, if you've been there, you know, the pending sale, then you want to get to that closing table.
Yeah.
So that too has dropped a little bit, but I guess that's logical.
It's logical with pending sales
pending
being
sales.
down. Of course, your closed sales are going to be down.
Okay, I'm going to pause a second, if you don't care, because it is one thing to list your house. It's something else to list your house with the right agent.
Correct.
And it's another thing to list your house in a way that's appealing to those potential buyers. So to the pending sales being down, did people kind of get greedy for a while, Jason?
In my opinion, yes, I think so. We had some sellers that knew what they wanted and they weren't going below that, and that knocked a lot of people out.
Or they thought that it was still the boom of COVID, and that's not here anymore.
That is not here no more. That is correct. We're
Okay.
not seeing the multiple offers. We're not seeing, 15, 20 showings on one certain house in a day.
Mm-hmm.
So things have slowed down in that aspect.
And home buyers are becoming a little bit savvier because they're not feeling the desperation that they thought they had to feel
Correct.
before. So back to the point of choosing the right realtor, you hope that people will listen to you because you don't want them to price it and then have to drop it down.
And that looks bad on a house in some aspects as well. You start high, then drop.
Mm-hmm.
People think, oh, they're desperate, so we can offer 20% less. Mm-hmm. And that's not always the case.
That's not always the case. Okay, so now today's on the market. Still, it's a pretty good number. It's at 50?
50 days on the market as is the average right now, yes.
Okay, that's not bad.
It's not, and when we go to a listing, we set the expectation of, we're not going to be getting offers immediately. It's going to take a couple of weeks to get that offer, and then by the time we close, it's going to be around 50 to 55 days.
I think that's kind of good. Those days of, put your house on the market and that by supper time you had those 10 offers, that was daunting.
Oh, yes.
Because for the seller too, it was scary because what if you chose the wrong offer?
And then, what if you chose the wrong house to buy?
Correct.
There's
Yeah.
a lot that plays into that.
Okay, I like this one from the seller's perspective. The percent of the original list price received. Pretty steady.
Pretty steady. It is staying right there at around the 95%. At one point we were seeing 1% off. Now it's getting back to where they're offering closing costs. They're coming down off the price. So it's
Okay, let's talk about the closing costs for just a second.
Okay.
Because back to the COVID days where sellers could almost dictate the terms, that is not the case. So buyers are going to usually be in need of the seller to pay those costs.
Especially the first-time home buyers, you know, they have their down payment money, but they don't really have the money for all the closing costs. So that's where we try to negotiate in with our offer price.
Right.
You know, 3 to 6% for the sellers to pay for the buyer's closing costs.
But what you're paying for when you're paying that 3 to 6% is the expertise of what it takes to be a realtor.
Correct.
Because yes, y'all are out showing the houses. Yes, you're out talking to the seller prior to listing and getting all the particulars. But there's so much that you're doing behind the scenes.
A lot of buyers and sellers don't really see what we do behind the scenes. You know, people thinks it's a 5-hour-a-day job. It's not.
It is not. And
Yeah.
detail is so important. You can't miss anything.
Correct.
And that carries its own pressure.
Because if we miss something, you know, we got to go back to the seller and be like, hey, sorry, or it comes out of our pocket.
Right.
So, you
Right.
know, with my team, I have them look over the contract 3 or 4 times, and then if they have any questions, they call me, and if I don't have the answer, we go to our broker. So, you know, we've got a line of people that we go to make sure our offers or our contracts are correct.
And everybody wants to get to that closing table and walk
Exactly.
away having shaken the hands. Okay, real quickly before I let Jason run, am I reading this right? Inventory of homes for sale right now? There
Yes.
are 3,100
So
and
there's
change?
3,100 homes on the market as of right now that's for sale.
Okay, so if you want to make yours 3,101, you can contact Jason. If you are in the market to buy a house, also contact Jason. It's Onward Chattanooga. Their information there on your screen. 280-1164 is their phone number. Thanks.
Thank you, Julie.
Ashley Stars and Stripes sale is going on now. Create your stylish summer sanctuary for less with Hot Buys now just $6.99. For a limited time, you can save